Um, Girl, it was calm, kind of, and then my little brother got arrested, and
Okay. Look, I'm like, we on live, so I'm gonna talk to you about that offline. Yeah, that definitely will stir up the day.
look, it's been an event.
So, where you at?
I'm in Mobile,
Okay,
Alabama.
that's what I thought. That's what I thought. I saw your clip. It was awesome.
Which one?
Girl said, which one?
Because I recently did a whole bunch of interviews, NBC,
Was
CNN,
it the
radio.
opening segments you were doing, maybe?
Oh, okay. So me speaking at the podium that said fair
Yeah,
maps. Okay.
yeah.
The press conference after the Supreme Court or arguments.
Okay. Yes,
Yeah.
ma'am. Casual.
I was like, I've been running my mouth a lot the past week. What we talk about?
Girl, I love it. You a Black girl with a lot to say, child. Which is why I had to bring you into this space today. Not only are you a Black girl with a lot to say, you are my soror. And you're super passionate about the people and about making sure that we are voting. So I wanted you to just tell the people a little bit about you. And then I'm gonna ask you a few more questions after that.
Okay, well, I am Shalela Dowdy. I hail from Mobile, Alabama, 32 years old. I'll just give the standard bio. So Mobile is my hometown. I attended undergrad at the United States Military Academy at West Point in New York, where I ran cross country and track. So I'm a runner. And then what else I did? Served 6 years in the Army on active duty, and then I left because the military is very conservative and I'm a little liberal. And so I did a year in corporate America, and then the pandemic hit, and I've kind of been in the nonprofit space since then. I am the president of a nonprofit called Stand Up Mobile that does voter engagement in the Black community. I've had a couple of fellowships that deal with organizing. The past year, I've been focused a lot on redistricting in my local community and on the state level. And so spending my time right now fighting for Black voting rights in Alabama. I'm a plaintiff in the Supreme Court case. We just had oral arguments on Tuesday in front of the Supreme Court, and we are waiting to hear the court's opinion in the spring. And what's significant about this case is that if it does not go in our favor, it could possibly gut Section 2 of the Voting Rights Act, which is basically centered around making sure that there's no voting practices that are discriminatory in place. But if we win, it could help create additional political power for Black voters in Louisiana and possibly South Carolina. So those are states where the Black vote is currently being diluted based off of how their maps are drawn. So yeah, and then I'm a law student right now in my first year, part-time evening. So
yes. So y'all see why I brought her today. So all that being said, why are you passionate about voting? Why does voting matter to you?
The crazy thing is that I've already given this spiel today. It was this young Black dude walking down the street trying to holler, and I was like, you know when the next election is? And literally was just talking to him for 40 minutes. And what I told him was that if you don't do politics will do you. And there is power.
Sorry, you got to say that one more time.
If you don't do politics will do you. And I say that because a lot of people say when you're talking to them about voting, they're like, oh, I don't do politics. And I'm like, well, the decisions that elected officials make impact every aspect of our lives, whether it deals with stuff going on in our community, infrastructure, education, benefits, and funding, the roads that we drive on. Somebody made a decision, and more than likely, it was someone who was in an elected seat. So I'm just passionate about voting because I hail from Alabama, and Alabama led the way in voting rights when it comes to that movement in America. I know a lot of people have heard of Bloody Sunday in Selma, and those individuals were just trying to walk across the bridge to walk 50 miles to go register to vote in Montgomery. They weren't even trying to vote. They were just trying to register to vote. And so it's the least that I can do when it comes to being a Black Alabamian. to talk about voting and its importance to our community. Because what I'm realizing is that a lot of people are not educated on the impact of voting, and a lot of people are not participating in voting. And if they do, it's only every 4 years in a presidential year. Now, Black women, especially educated Black women, we're holding it down, but our Black men, like I always hear Black males say they don't vote, and literally got hit with the same narrative that I hear all the time. I got hit with it today. Well, my one vote doesn't mean anything. And I was like, people have won elections off of one vote. That happened here in Alabama.
Just last year in Fulton County, that's where I'm registered to vote. That's where I've grown up. And it literally came down to individual votes in a county. So
I would say, people say my vote don't count. I was like, if your vote don't count, they wouldn't be passing bills that fall within the voter suppression realm to make it harder for you to vote. Georgia, if you give somebody water in line, you committed a crime based off SB Senate Bill 202, the new voter suppression bill that was passed immediately after Trump lost the election. And so you saw that happen in state houses across the country, voter suppression bills being passed. I just tell people, you know, if your vote wasn't impactful, if it wasn't powerful, if it wasn't influential, people would not be passing laws to make it harder to vote.
That's just the real tea. Like, and I think it's super important how you listed out the things that it affects. Like here, we know in Louisiana, potholes. Okay, them things will tear your car up. Even the roads in Georgia and Alabama aren't that good. So like all that stuff really matters when we think about natural disasters and response to those things. Our elected officials, our governors, like they have power when it comes to that. And so we have to make sure that we are electing governors, judges, state board officials, state board, education board, school board. There we go. That's what I'm trying to get at. School board officials, you know, that care about us as people, as human beings, as community members. All that really matters. And midterms are huge. I know people usually vote in the presidential elections, but midterms are so important to our day-to-day lives. Like I cannot stress that.
In our two states, governor is on the ballot.
Yep.
You got governor, lieutenant governor. You got Senate seats in both of our states that are up every 2 years.
No Black women in Senate, y'all.
Right. That right there. Kamala was our only person. And so what, she left in 2020. So no black women presidents. You got lieutenant governor, you got secretary of state, DAs, county commissioners, so many positions that, you know, it really bothers me when I hear, you know, my vote don't count. But I just do my job to have the conversation. And for some of them, that like the young man I was talking to today, I was like, I'm running late. And I'm like, but you know what? I'm running late because I was talking to somebody about voting. You know, challenging them to have that conversation with other people, because the way America is right now, women reproductive rights under attack, it just goes to show you that the way the Supreme Court is lined up right now, it started with an election in 2020, in 2016. So yeah.
That's yeah.
It's a lot.
Yeah. So I want you to let the people know, I don't know if you know them off the top of your head or if you want to pull them up, but just some important dates that they should be marking in their calendars, on their phones, when we're looking at registration deadlines, absentee deadlines. What else? Does Alabama have early voting?
We don't. And so I'm going to focus on Alabama because I guess I should have tried to memorize Louisiana's at least.
No, but, you represented Alabama today.
Voter register. Oh, so I know my.
I know you know Alabama. That's why I'm like, run it, sis. You got it.
Okay. So Alabama, you know, we participate in our own form of voter suppression. So we don't have early voting. You know, Georgia does. There's no early voting. We do have where you can vote absentee, and but you have to have an excuse. Like you're going to be at work from 7 to 7. You're going to be outside the county. You got to have an excuse. And, you know, some people are like, I need an excuse. If I don't have that excuse, I'm not going to vote early. But November 1st is the last day to mail in, the last day or your ballot request has to be received. So in Alabama, you have to send in a form requesting a ballot. So the absentee office has to receive the request by November 1st. The latest that they can receive your ballot in the mail when you mail it back is November 8th on election day at noon. And if you want to walk your ballot in, if you requested an absentee ballot, you have until November 7th to do that. Obviously, November 8th is election day. And because Alabama does what it does, they cut voter registration off October 24th. So about 15 days before election day. If you're not registered to vote, you're going to be able to vote in the November 8th midterm election. And that's a form of voter suppression. Like, I don't know if you're aware, but like Illinois has same day voter registration because a lot of people don't find out about election day until election day. And then they're like, oh, wait, well, can I vote? If you're in Alabama, if you didn't register by October 24th, 15 days before, you can't. So we're pushing that narrative, trying to make sure everybody is aware of that, because after October 24th passed, we'll just be contacting the people who are registered to vote to remind them to go and vote on November 8th. So I think those are the important dates. Election day, November 8th, register to vote by October 24th. I would challenge people to, have the conversation with their friends and family. I know in my friend group, I'm like the only person that talks about, they call it politics, but I'm like, I don't necessarily think it's politics. It's voting. It's
literally
it affects us all. And so have the talk with your cousins, with your family members, and just let them know. I think we need to talk about it more. It's something that we don't talk about. It's not second nature for us anymore. We have that right kind of to vote, and I say kind of because the black vote is diluted in some areas, and so people just don't think it's necessarily something that we should discuss when we should. It's like, especially like as a community, we should be trying to figure out who we gonna support, who's gonna get elected, and people say what they're gonna do, but who says they're gonna
about it.
And then to look at the voter record of the people who are already in the seat, who are rerunning, to decide if there's somebody who you want to put back in office.
Yeah. I was just hearing like a video a few minutes ago before we hopped on a website where they can look at people's voting record. They can look at the campaign websites. They can look at who's funding them. Ballotpedia is a great resource, small plug. Just to look at all of that, because otherwise you will have to go to a bunch of different websites and go through a lot. But Ballotpedia, you're able to just go through a few links and you can see where the money is, who's supporting them, what that person who's already in office has been supporting while they've been in office. Like, all of that stuff matters when we are talking strategy, when we're talking about really taking our power back and using our votes as a way to reshape our community. So yes, please let the people know where they can support you and your work and all that you do.
Well, first of all, I'm gonna get to it, but you just schooled me because I didn't really know Ballotpedia offered all that. When I do look up some stuff, when I do look up some stuff, it does take me to vote it does take me to Ballotpedia, and so I never really looked intensely. So I am definitely about to go look into that. But you can follow me at Leela. Okay, I'm a little complicated. So
you got a lot, and I want y'all to follow her on all of them.
So Instagram has a limit on how many people that you can follow. And so my page that it's like the most popping is Leela V as in Victoria 89. But I follow 7,500 people there. So I would prefer for you to follow me over there because we're trying to get to 10K. Because once you reach 10,000 followers on Instagram, like, other doors are open. But when I'm at the law school, the thing to do is to start a law school page or a medical page. And so I had an old Black girl activist page that I kind of turned into my law page. And that's also if I meet any new people nowadays, that's where they're going because I can't follow people back on my Leela V89 page. So Legally Fierce is the law school /activist / I kind of double post on both pages page. And on Twitter, it's Leela Fierce. They hit me with the Donald Trump. My Twitter was Leela V89, and I had it since 2009. But I used to post my workout videos with music, and they got me for copyright. They was kind of like last year they were flagging my videos from 2015. I'm like, really?
Yeah, they had flagged. I had got logged out of my account that I had since 2010, girl, and I was too hurt, and so I was messaging them, please. I'm like, can I please get my account? I got my account back.
What?
I had to text you. Yeah, it took a lot. It took over a month. I had to make a whole new page. I was really depressed. Yeah.
It's hard. It's hard to garner a following on Twitter. I only was at maybe 3,500, and that was with 10 years of having Twitter. Like you really have to be engaging on Twitter, and for people like to stumble upon like what you wrote and then be like, oh, I want to follow them. Mm-hmm. So yeah, so it's legally fierce. It's Leela Fierce on Twitter. So we're trying with the Little Fierce mantra. So yeah.
Yes. Well, thank you, sis. I'm so glad that you stopped in and had this talk about elections with us. It's so important, and the people will definitely be seeing you here again.
Thank you. I appreciate you having me, and make sure y'all go and vote on November 8th.
Yes, go vote. All right, boo. Thank you.